Lafayette said, his point, his point was so profound. And for us, I want us to, those of us who are exonerees, let us, you and I just talked about this, but I've been talking about it for 4 decades. I've been beating that drum for 4 decades. We got to stay on point. Innocence. Let's start there. That's the tip of the spear. In journalism, they say never bury the lead. Stay on point, because what we can show is that if this is what you do to the innocent, well, nobody else has a prayer in heaven. And so when you get into the nuances and the complexities of each of our cases, see, I know all of your cases, because I worked on a lot of your cases. And I know, like, your story, you ain't even told your story yet. It's going to shock the hell out of people when you tell your story. It's profound and it's scary. But all of our cases are like that. And like getting back to what Lafayette said, before I even go into that, I just want to contextualize. I did 42 years in prison. And unlike anybody on the panel, I was a child when I was sent to prison. And I had to exonerate myself. Legally speaking, Pennsylvania parole board exonerated me. And that's why I stand now seeking exoneration in court. We have the receipts in our hands. We've been standing for over 4 decades. Now, getting back to Lafayette's comment, he talked, for those who can't wrap their mind around how his transcripts just disappeared. Just recently, under the Krasner administration, when he first got into office, there was a story, and I got the receipts, that someone, an exoneree, before they was exoneree, the case got heated, and then all of a sudden, they said they couldn't find the transcript, and then miraculously, within the inner workings of the district attorney's office, those transcripts and files just popped up on the table. Now, nobody did an investigation of who, because they got cameras all over the district attorney's office. Nobody did an investigation of who put that file in, not only who put it, where they get it from, and how did it magically appear once we brought to bear, we addressed the court of public opinion and put pressure on them and make them do the right thing, not because it's the thing to do, but because they don't want the pressure, because when the lights come, folks come with flashlights, they see that, oh, they're doing this to everybody. This is not no single individual. So let us be mindful of that. And a big up to the Daily News for providing this. I thought I'd never say that, but the Daily News been on their job. I gotta give it to them. Like Will something, I forget his name. Will Bunch. He been killing it. Like you read everything he wrote, like each article was much more harder than the first, factual. And this is another condemnation of the whole court system dealing with the prosecution's office, the judges. I got out of prison because they were telling the news things about my case that they didn't even tell me. In discovery, they wouldn't even give it to me. So when I see it in the newspaper, I put together a motion and petition, and then I let them know. And this is the last point. And this is like when Kier talked about she has a client, and the client wants to plead guilty to get out. Well, I let them know from the rip I would die in prison before I do that. I let them know that clearly. I'm innocent. I've been innocent since day one, and when I went before the parole board, it was the same thing. And let me tell you how I don't take no shorts, and this is important. I told the Pennsylvania parole board from the rip, listen, for 30 years, when parole wasn't available to me, I vindicated the rights of thousands of prisoners. And I learned 2 things. Number one, that this entity is a bastion of white supremacy. Now, this is the language I use. I don't mix no words. I don't use no euphemisms. This is a bastion of white supremacy. That's what I learned in those 30 years of vindicating all those rights. And 2, you have no respect, no concern, no care for the rights of the people that come before this board under the Pennsylvania Constitution and the United States Constitution and the International Constitution. You have 0 rights or respect for their rights. These black, brown, and mostly poor white folks. And so I said, that's who you are. Y'all know who I am. I'm a human rights revolutionary. And let's get it in. Right. First time they denied me, second time they denied me. Then I pulled in Georgetown Law School, Princeton, Northwestern, brilliant professor. He wrote a study, and the study was called Barred, Why the Innocent Can't Get Out of Jail. I submitted that with my package, and now because I got these boards with flashlights, they was like, the chairman of the board spent the whole time apologizing to me for me being in prison. And when it was over, my Princeton team, they was like, how you feel? I said, I ain't really feeling that. But damn, they gonna let you go. Why you feel like that? Because I know people coming behind me is not gonna get the treatment that I just got. And the treatment I got wasn't predicated on, everything I said, I've been saying. I got the receipts and the evidence for my innocence. But they only did it because Georgetown was involved, Princeton was involved, Northeastern was involved. That's the only reason they did it. They didn't do it because it was the right thing to do. And I'm saying everybody not gonna have all them people on their team. You know what I'm saying? So let us keep our innocence up front, because that's the thing that's irrefutable. And once we start from there, then we can go into all these other things, because like what you was just talking about, we can sit down and all tell stories about the horrors of our imprisonment and the things that's going on. But we never want to bury the lead about actual innocence, because that's the thing that they cannot refute, and we can't let it go away. And having to deal with that first and foremost, then we can deal with all the other issues. But let us not get so caught up in the minutia of the inhumanities and the injustices and the diabolicalism within the neo-concentration death camps. That's right, I said it. That we lose sight of the fact that we actually innocent, and we got evidence to prove it. And we've been standing, some of us, for 50 years in front of the bar of justice with the evidence in our hand. And every mechanism you possibly can think of, they use to ignore that innocence. And let us not lose sight of our innocence. Thank you.
And I want to agree 100% that structural racism is a big part of why what's happening is happening. I can look at a dear family friend who, and I'll take away from innocence, but he was charged with conspiracy because he was with someone who committed a murder, and got the same sentence, for being there, which to me was just, and he was very young. I'm not sure if he was a juvenile, but it just in prison for decades, again, for conspiracy. So structural racism has a great deal to do with it, and I agree 100% with that. And one last thing, I think we forget that when police are going after the